The town of Coburg was the backdrop for one of the biggest trials post-World War I, but it is one many don't remember or don't even know. The town is now reliving the case in commemoration of the 100th anniversary of the World War I armistice. Built in the 1850s, Coburg's Victoria Hall has withstood the test of time. Standing prominently on King Street, this three-story stone building is home to what some historians call the last battle of the Great War. Inside is the Old Bailey courtroom, modeled after the Old Bailey in London, England. The walls in this room have heard many arguments, but none more famous in its day than Sir Arthur Currie's 1928 libel case.
Treason! It's the least known story from World War I would say, and yet it's a hugely important story, and that's why one of the reasons I did the play, because it put Canada's role in World War I on trial.
The court case is the focus of author and historian Hugh Brewster's first play, Last Day, Last Hour, Canada's Great War on Trial, which takes place 10 years after World War I.
In the Port Hope Evening Guide, a small-town paper, they ran a front-page editorial saying it was the last day, the last hour, and the Canadian commander, through sheer recklessness, decided to take the town of Mons simply for his own glory.
But this dishonors the Corps, and it dishonors the men who died and those who were wounded in body and mind.
Currie would file a libel suit against the publisher of the paper to clear his name and in defense of the soldiers that fought for him.
Well, military historians agree that Arthur Currie was our greatest military figure.
But General Sir Arthur Currie had to wear many hats before earning that reputation. He worked as a teacher and an insurance salesman before joining the local militia as a gunner. He had a reputation as a disciplinarian and a student in the art of war, and quickly rose through the ranks. Sir Arthur Currie was not a charismatic leader, but he was smart and knew how to organize soldiers. He was primed by Sir Julian Byng, the Canadian Corps commander from 1916 to 1917. After a successful battle at Vimy Ridge in early April 1917, Byng was promoted.
And his successor was Canada's great leader and citizen soldier, Arthur William Currie.
He was the first and only Canadian soldier to hold that post. He would lead Canadian soldiers to a string of victories, including what is referred to as Canada's 100 Days.
The last 3 months of the war, in which 4 divisions of Canadians defeated 1/4 of the German army, 47 German divisions. But the cost was very high. At the end of the war, Canadians were hailed as great victors. You know, we'd come out from under Britain's shadow. It had been great for Canada's reputation. And yet, 61,000 Canadians from a country of 7.5 million had been killed. 172,000 had been wounded in body and mind.
Canada's last battle took place in the Belgian city of Mons, which the Germans had controlled since 1914. Despite rumors that peace was at hand, Currie followed orders, and in the early hours of November 11th, the Canadians attacked the city. Just a few hours later, at 11 a.m., the armistice came into effect.
The country needed a scapegoat. Currie had some very formidable enemies,
including Canada's former Minister of Militia, Sir Sam Hughes.
And at every opportunity, he would stand up in Parliament and assail Currie. He said, "There's not a soldier returning from France that will not curse the name of the commander who ordered this foolish, reckless attack on Mons."
Hughes's accusations were repeated in the editorial, and Currie wouldn't let the insults stand, so he took the publisher to court.
There was a lot of inaccurate stuff in the editorial, and that Currie rode into town like a conqueror with the bodies of dead Canadians lining the road, and then he was chased out of town by his own men, furious that they'd been forced to fight when the war was coming to an end. None of this was true.
Do you think any message might have been sent by wireless on, say, the evening of the 10th?
This was the trial of the century. Every reporter in Canada was here. Every major daily was here. This was a really important event.
During the trial, the jury was told one Canadian actually died while taking Mons on November 11, 1918. After deliberation, the jury found the newspaper guilty of libel, awarding Curry $500 in damages, the equivalent of $7,000 today, and a far cry from the $50,000 he was seeking. His last victory, and arguably his most important, would be short-lived. Curry would die 5 years later at the age of 57. And while his fight to clear his name is not known by many, it is not hard to argue that General Sir Arthur Curry is one of our greatest military leaders.
The Agenda with Steve Bacon is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario, helping businesses stay on the right side of change with strategic thinking, insightful decisions, and business leadership. Are you on the right side of change? Ask an Ontario CPA.